Blue Justin here, still Justin, still not blue, apart from to apologise about how long it's taken me to get around to this video. This is quite a special little video. It's all about my first use of the Stackry US forwarder and what I put into that very first haul. Some things I learned from it that might be useful for you, that sort of thing. However, before I start that, I'm going to go in with something else. I just arrived from the US, in fact, this very morning. And that is this paperback book, Requiem of an Aria. As you make out there, it's by, if you know that you don't know the name, it's by Leigh from Leih's Media. We've got a YouTube channel that's absolutely excellent. This is her first novel. I haven't finished it yet. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I got this one sent to Ray so she could sign it for me, and I very much appreciate her doing that for me. That was very kind of you, Ray. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm still reading it, so I definitely can't give you spoilers, even if I was trying to avoid them. So I can't even make an accident because I haven't reached the ending yet. But I will say I'm thoroughly enjoying it and would have got through it long before now if it hadn't been for upcoming Christmas. And I'm blaming that for the video delay as well. Just to say that if anybody is going to consider this, it is available on Amazon in Kindle format, or this is the paperback, obviously. It's a lovely fingerprint magnet, but it's great. Essentially, it's a murder mystery, crime solving novel at its basis, but it then leans much more heavily into supernatural, maybe horror type elements. The description on the back is about children being found murdered in their beds across Chicago, and that is no exaggeration for an idea of the sort of movie, not style, but plot-wise. You can almost imagine, for example, Cat People, but with much more horror and none of the erotic framework. I'll make that very clear. So that with more of the horrific death type elements that would make the people who made Seven go, I'm not sure we can put that on screen by about page 5. So if that sort of thing appeals to you, I will put a link to Ray's page, and I will put a link to the where you can buy it on Amazon. I'm sure it's available elsewhere, but I'm not sure. So I'll certainly put that link. But back to the main theme. I should just put that safely aside, sorry. Main theme of my video today, which is my first input from using the Stackry forwarder. This is the box. The only reason I opened it is to check that nothing had been missed out or damaged. Other than that, I have not gone into great detail apart from practically counting and just having a quick look down, that sort of thing. So this is something to enjoy by all of us, and let's have a look together at what I did. Just a quick intro on Stackry first, though. Just going to keep it short. I've been needing to try a forwarding service for quite some time because of American exclusives, people who will not export to the UK, and US only sales, which are sometimes quite incredibly good, much better than we get here in the UK. Setup is incredibly simple. I learnt of Stackry directly through Phil with the double L's video on when he set up a Stackry account, and I'll do a link to that down below as well. That is will give much more of a detailed account on how he set it up, rather than this one, which is assuming I did that bit much more and running you through the haul and a couple of lessons learned that I got in doing so. However, the highlights for me on this one are Stackry, well regarded. You have a US address that your items can be sent to. You do not pay a fee to set up the address. You don't pay a monthly fee to keep the address. It's 100% free unless you are actually paying them to get the items, put them together into a new box, which obviously reduces the amount of packaging, and you can also they'll be sending them all in one go, which reduces the separate postage each time. And that being the whole point of having a forwarder that does this sort of thing. I used Phil's $10 credit discount link, and thank you very much for that, Phil. It worked perfectly, and now if you want to follow my example after watching this video, I will have my $10 off your first order or first consolidation of items link down below in the description as well. So on to the haul itself. So what did I order? Well, yes, obviously some physical media, but first up I will tell you I did order, unusually, some t-shirts. That's not the unusual bit. I wanted to order some t-shirts from Redbubble. I don't know if you know them, but they have t-shirts and stickers and sweatshirts and all sorts of, all that sort of thing for just about everything. They are incredibly wide-ranging in material, and I use them a lot. And normally I just have things sent to the UK. PS tip, especially more recently, do not bother spend out the huge amount extra for express shipping. The normal shipping will usually get the items to you from the US within a week or so, and I think the express shipping just means that you're guaranteed to get them within a week rather than will likely get them within a week. It's really that useless nowadays. It used to be a much longer gap, but they changed their shipping system. But back to the actual box. These were some Redbubble shirts that I normally have them just sent to the UK. If you were going to send normally just by US stuff, I worked out it's not worth sending them to the forwarder by the time they've unpacked them, repacked them, and obviously they then charge their own percentage or whatever on top of your chosen shipping method, which there are about 7 or 8 different speeds, different reliabilities, etc. However, I discovered that with these shirts, and this was the first time I'd ever come across it, that they would not send to the UK for whatever reason. For I'm assuming, or I checked into it, I'm just guessing it's down to, it's not a legal thing, it's just that the person who designed the shirts has just, sorry, I've got to try and get them out, has said that they do not want them to be exported to the UK. I can only think that's the reason. There's no, as far as I can work out, legal reason. I'll show these to you first before showing you the media, but I will say that what Stackry did when they packed them, I didn't ask them for this. It was just they used their common sense, and yes, that's not very common in the world nowadays, but they used their common sense and they used the shirts as protective packing around the media, and which meant that I was right not to ask them to add any extra bubble wrap, which is an extra, I think it's $5 if you wanted that done. And anyway, yeah, so I've got these t-shirts here. I'll just get this to one side a little bit whilst I show you. They're all by the same artist and of the same type thematic thing. They are based on Star Trek, but lots of other Star Trek items can be sold here. But these are in the style of, if you know, going back to United States Air Force or Top Gun, Navy aviators type, the patches that they do for their aircraft and squadrons, and stuff like they do. It's like fun cartoony type characters that they adopt. They've got Spooky for the Phantom 2 aircraft, and they've got the Tiger with sort of like Anytime Baby for the Tomcat, that sort of thing. These are, the first one is, this is their engineering, the Seabees. Is it SEACE? I can't remember what it stands for now. But this is the Seabees one for Starfleet. Reading, this is the DS9. What was this one? Yeah, DS9 Reconstruction Starfleet Cores of Engineering, with a B on it, therefore the reference to the Seabees from the US Navy. I shall put that to one side quickly. Then there is 3 here, so it's tightly wrapped together. This one is Runabout. Runabout Development Utopia Planetary Fleet Yards. There you go. Straight there you go. I know what happens to my voice because I don't have a separate microphone if I start speaking from behind things. And finally, the Everybody's Fun DS9 Fun Jet Li. It's the inside, yes. The Defiant, created to fight the Borg. It's like a pocket battleship with loads and loads of armament, and with the slogan above it, with assimilate this and do. So yeah, I absolutely loved these when I first saw them. Tried to order them, it refused to. It let them put in my basket, but when I tried to send them to the UK, it said no, can't send those to the UK. So this was, I put them all in my first Stackry basket, or Stackry consolidation, as they say. And there, that's what happened. So I'll just pop those. Where shall I put them? I'll put them actually down there for a moment. And yes, then I shall start with the actual contents. First up, we had one that was a bit of a mistake in only looking back at it. It's one of those hindsight type things, marvellous thing. And bear in mind when you look at the contents, a lot of these I ordered when it was around about October. Yes, I'm going back that far, I'm afraid. Obviously, I had to wait till they were all with Stackry before I had them all sent to me, because it's much more worthwhile the more you get. But I'll go into a few details on what to avoid a bit later. The first one was one I saw actually advertised at the beginning of another film I watched in on my Halloween Halloween watches for Hannah's Halloween bingo, and that is The Sadness. Now, I know this one's 18 rated in the UK. I would normally have bought the UK copy of the 4K, but when I went looking for it to order it, because it looked interesting, the UK did not have a pre-order available. The US did. I think after I ordered the US one, it was about a month later that the UK said, oh yeah, we're selling it as well. So thank you very much for that. For a more in-depth looking at this one, go to AJ's Movie Place. He thought he might be interested. He watched it. I didn't watch the full review because I didn't want it spoiled. But essentially his comment was he didn't mind the violence, but the zombies in this also are not just violently, but they're they're depraved. It's murder and but you can imagine like forced sex, nastiness, stuff like that. AJ wasn't so pleased with the sexual side of it and the sexual violence, but other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not particularly bothered by that attitude, but we shall see. Like I said, a bit annoyed that it came out for sale in the UK just after I'd ordered it and had it arrive in the US. This one is a US exclusive. This is the sort of thing you should use Stackry for, and I'm very pleased that I got it. Again, and please remember that this was doing a lot of ordering in October, so it's lots of horror titles in here. This is the US exclusive version of Steelbook Pumpkinhead. Again, 4K Blu-ray limited edition steelbook. I don't think we've got anything like this in the UK, and if we have, I'm sure you can tell me down in the comments, but I don't think so. And I love that artwork. That is just great. So much pleased. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the major plot things here, because if you're interested in the movies, they're reasonably well known, then it's just a matter of I'm showing you the fact that the US ones are different, and that's why I went through Stackry. That being the point. This one, I don't know. I don't think it's got a UK release, which is why I got it from the US. This one isn't sealed. I'm not sure. I think it was a rattler, which is why I opened it. This is a combo pack, and it is Escape from Vampire Island. Not a particularly well-known film, but it just looked fun. And when I was I'd like to find when I was ordering these, I was ordering a lot of this material, in fact all of it, from Amazon, and in the US they've got a $35 minimum to avoid postage and packing. So if I bought a $30 steelbook, which would be £35 over here. So, you know, I'm already up ahead of the game, to put it that way. But I then had to find something else to bring the cost up to above $35 if I was going to send it. It's a very strange system. Sometimes you can get past it, and sometimes if you do that, it's easy, and sometimes it'll give you a freebie for the next time you send to the same address, emphasis on the same address. So I tried to do something else with it, and it wouldn't let me. It's a bit too clever. And yes, so it tries to force you down the please buy Prime Office route, and it's torturous to even when you do get above the $35, it's extremely torturous to try and avoid their package and posting, where they try to add on the fastest package and posting charge by default. You have to go in, you have to go, no, I want, then you try to check out, and it'll try to add package and posting on. Then you say you don't want to do that, so you go back. It'll then say, do you want Amazon Prime? You'll say no, and it'll go straight through and say, I've just added the package and posting on then, even though you're above. This is when you're above the $35 minimum, and that you'll still add them on because it'll give you the fastest delivery speed. And then if you go back again and say you'd like to check out, it will give you that list of what days do you want things delivered, and you can choose the slow delivery. Can I have free delivery, but I don't mind if it's rapid or not, that sort of thing. And finally you get to log out with it not charging you postage and packing, but they are really, really annoying about that. So anyway, I'm really pleased with that, really pleased to get hold of that. I like my vampire movies, I like Asian movies, Asian vampire movie. Right, next up, slightly annoying, but again, this was one I used to do as a top up to make sure I went above $35. I would, if I'd realised that they were just about to put out an Arrow version, especially in the UK, then I would have gone with that rather than gone with the regular US version. This is the collector's edition of In the Mouth of Madness. As you can see there, we got Sam Neill on the front. Yes, I thought it was. Based on an H.P. Lovecraft tale. It's a 4K scan, but it's only a Blu-ray disc. Like I said, I would go, if I had the choice now, I would go with the Arrow release, because it would be a much better release with lots more extras. Though this isn't bad, to be fair. New scan, audio commentary with the director John Carpenter and the producer, a couple of new look at the film's locations today, interview with the actress and special effects person, another audio commentary with John Carpenter, but this time with John Carpenter and the cinematographer, not John Carpenter and the producer, the trailer, TV spots and more. So it is correct collector's edition, so it's certainly worth it. And to be fair, it was reduced down to something like $4 or something, so it just pushed me over the 35. It was one of those ones where they wouldn't even, half the time they don't even give you the option of sending it to the UK, because the package and posting that they would have to add on to send it to the UK is more than what they're selling it for at the massively reduced, because it's been on sale for so long price in the US. That's another time when it's sometimes useful to pick these things up. This one I think was a very good price. I cannot remember, but it's got a nice slip on it, and I haven't got it. So this is non-horror, the 4K and digital, and that's a digital that I will therefore probably be sending to Ray of Rayleigh's Media of the Wildest Book Writing fame now, because the digital copies can only be used in countries where the digital was made. So this is obviously American. So even if I gave it to you as a UK resident, I don't know whether you can defeat it with VPNs, etc. nowadays, which normal people have nowadays because of the intrusive new government laws, etc., etc. VPN investigations and sales went up something like 300% the day that new law came in. Yeah, no political commentary, Justin, cut it out. Anyway, like I said, Legend of Zorro 4K. Nice. Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Hooray for the return of Zorro. Yeah, that's got director and cinematographer commentary, behind the scenes, deleted scenes with optional director's commentary, and trailers. So not bad again. And again, nice slip. Right, what have we got? Not too much more. Got the embarrassing ones coming up. So wait for it. Not really. If I ever did that embarrassing, I wouldn't show you. This one is one I don't think this one's out in the UK, or if it is, I suspect it's one of those DVD only, but you can get it in Blu-ray if you go to the right place. And that is Ghost Killer. When college student stumbles upon the bullet that ended a hitman's life, the vengeful spirit in that bullet enters her body, and now possessed by a ruthless assassin's rage and skills, she becomes an unstoppable force, hunting down those responsible for his death. I mean, it sounds fun to me. 2 souls, 1 mission. Ghost Killer. Yep, again, it was, I can't remember, this one could have been the expensive, one of these was actually quite expensive, and I just really like the sound of it. But yeah, that sounds great fun to me, to be honest. And again, certainly not one that you can get in the UK on that quality of disc. Right, okay, last couple. And here we go. Yes, I've only got it, the new 4K with Blu-ray of Elsa She-Wolf of the SS. Indeed I did. I went there. I know you might have seen one of the ones I watched in my horror month, which was the SS Experiment Love Camp one. Apparently this is much better as in a movie and enjoyable to watch, though it's still obviously exploitation type stuff of the same ilk, much copied, never bettered, lots of sequels, none of which were as good apparently. But yeah, this one has recently come out in the US, and so I thought to myself, yes. And finally, with regards to the discs, we have Creep Show. This is the 4K and Blu-ray collector's edition. This is, as you see, I'm not going to go into all the, look at that, all those extras on there on the Blu-ray. I've told this has been a great fun movie to watch, and I wish I had it at the time during October to actually be able to watch it. So, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave those there for a moment. I'm going to see, because I've got them, I'm going to go from my, I'm not going to change Santa's beard, but I think I'll change the Christmas themed t-shirt into one of my new t-shirts, and then I'll just finish off the Stackry details. As you can see, I have gone with the Defiant t-shirt, and that is going to defiantly battle the chaos around the house as I head towards Christmas. But anyway, back to the Stackry lessons learned. First up, a generic lessons learned, which is stay below the threshold at which you can prepay the VAT when it's being sent to this country. Now, this doesn't just apply to a forwarder, this would apply to anyone. I don't know how it would work with anyone, because Amazon tends to prepay the VAT automatically and they add it on, so I don't know whether you'd end up paying it twice or what. I've not tried it. But above £135 worth, you are not they are not legally allowed to prepay the VAT before they send it. And it's much more convenient if they do, not just convenient, but because if it's not prepaid when it reaches this country, the company that's bringing it in, like DHL or Mail or FedEx or whoever, they then pay the VAT on your behalf, and then they charge you that VAT, and they charge you a fee on top. In case of Royal Mail, it's per the old days always was, £8. Up to FedEx, I think it's up 10 or 12 or whatever. So you, and in this case me, ended up paying an additional £8 on top of the VAT amount. So yeah, that's a legal required thing. They can't get around that. It's not a case of them being a pain. It's a case of the law being a pain. So something to watch out for. It's very, very easy to go, oh, the more items I get, the more I'm saving. And that's especially true since the Brexit rule that items below £17 no longer escaped the VAT charge. So you can't get away with, well, if I send lots of small items, I might get away with not having to be paid VAT on them, etc. You will now, because there's no minimum value. That wasn't specifically to do with Brexit. That was a sneaky change to the law, as far as I can work out, that the government brought in at the same time as Brexit. So yeah, don't even think that you can avoid it and by doing that. So yeah, to avoid that, try to avoid going over the essentially avoid going over the £135 total per consolidation. You can split your consolidations, but you can only split them to a sense of, I'd like that delivery from Amazon included in this consolidation or not. You can't say that delivery from Amazon includes 7 Blu-rays. I want you to put these 3 Blu-rays from it in this consolidation and those 3 in a different one. You'd have to say that whole package, that package there, and whatever. So it's a bit of a pain, and certainly first time I did not want to be faffing about with that. I had enough fun, even though it's simple enough. When it's your first time, it's always a bit more stressful. So you obviously have to fill in the details of what each package contains, how much it's worth, etc., for insurance purposes. And also in my case, because I'd gone well over the £135 limit, I was up to the 200 and something for that lot. I paid the extra, it was $10 or something, for insurance that covered me up to much, much higher. Now you get built-in insurance of $100 worth, so that's one reason you might want to keep your consolidations relatively low. I personally like to keep mine around the £120 mark, but that's $150 or so. So the most I can lose, if the whole package goes missing, very, very low chance, I'll get $100 back in insurance compensation, and so I won't lose that much. But also, if it gets through, I'll still be well below the limit for being able to have prepaid the VAT. Also, of course, if you don't prepay the VAT like I couldn't on this consolidation, this big one, the one I've just shown you, it's down there now, that's why it's moved out of the way, then you also have to watch out for the email from DHL or whoever's bringing it in to say, please pay this fee, of which they've already paid the VAT, that includes the VAT plus their charge, to us now. There's no situation which they ever bring it to your door now and ask you it on your doorstep. The best they'd ever do is deliver it to a local, or not best, or the worst that some routes of importing do, is to bring it to a local depot to you, and then that depot would send you out a card to say this is how you pay, and you'd have to pay, either go down to the depot or you'd have to pay over the internet like I did. But obviously you have to look, you've then got the additional panic of looking out for that email in case it comes into the country, and then you're going, well, why hasn't it been sent on? Well, because they're not sending it on or they're not sending it out for delivery until you've paid the VAT charge, or customs. Yeah, okay, so that's that out of the way. The other one was a bit more specific, but just something to keep in mind. Try to avoid consolidating, so it aimed to sell out or to send out on a Friday. Don't consolidate near the end of the week. If you aim to consolidate on a Thursday, for example, by the time they finish their consolidation, which takes an extra day or so because they've got to unwrap everything, reweigh everything without the wrapping, because that's then repack it, then reweigh it with their packaging to work out how much they're going to charge you for the weight and all that sort of thing, or how much it costs. So all that takes them an extra day, day and a half, whatever. So then that starts to hit towards the end of Friday, then you get hit by the weekend. Specifically, in my case, in this particular instance, do not do it on the day before Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, should have thought that was quite obvious, but it just, unfortunately, it happened that way. I hadn't obviously planned that, I just didn't take it into account, which meant that there was lots and lots of extra delay built in there, as everybody had a really nice time in the US eating turkeys, or whatever, watching the big American football games. The one small thing, in my case, probably not necessarily for yourselves to worry about too much, but VAT is different than duty. You most definitely won't pay duty, because duty only, people think that they're paying duty, they're not paying VAT. So duty only applies when you make a certain amount of, the duty would at X percent would be above a certain rate. You have to get a shed load of Blu-rays and DVDs, and you almost definitely won't. The only thing I would say is that in my case I have learnt that t-shirts, on the other hand, do attract duty, because the duty is not based on whether or not it's like a luxury item like VAT is. Yeah, right, VAT's on luxury items anymore. No political comment from me. But because Blu-rays and such are not manufactured in this country, The only time you get hit with duty is when you're importing an amount that the HMRC would consider you are obviously importing to become a seller. Therefore, you're paying duty as a business. With t-shirts, they use duty, because it's clothing, they use duty as a charge to protect manufacturers of clothing within the UK. And because the UK does manufacture some clothing, I got charged 9% of the price of the t-shirts as an additional charge on top, in duty on top of the VAT. So just something to be aware of. If you follow my example, be aware of the fact some things, if you're not going just with media, it's worth checking what duty rates are on anything you're picking up, because some things might be very, very high duty rates. Obviously, I was just shirts, and it just surprised me, but 9%, I could, it's no big deal here or there. But you really do not want to be finding out that you happen to import something that's got a massive duty on it, and you're paying 50% of the cost of the item just so it doesn't compete with UK industry or anything like that. So yeah, those were the main two that I learnt as, don't do that. The things I also learnt as general guidelines are DHL are brilliant. Their tracking is superb. They're very, very quick. Evri is Evri. Pants, as their system is as pants as their delivery people. Though I will say that the delivery person who actually delivered the box, they were fine. They didn't throw it over the fence or anything, as has been happening. Even just recently, we've got news reports in my area of Evri abandoning parcels randomly, because especially in the run up to Christmas. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that sometimes you might want to go FedEx, even though you can end up paying twice the amount to import. That's purely up to you. Faster, more expensive, etc. I used the DHL plus Evri route, which incidentally is the express version of that is cheaper than the regular version, because the regular version is designed for big importers. The express version is designed for people who are doing it individually, so it ends up being less if you're importing a smaller amount. The general one would, if you were importing pallets worth as a business, would end up being saving you money. But in actual fact, express is obviously quicker, but actually will be less money in most circumstances, and I would generally recommend it as a way of doing it. It is tracked all the way, though, as I said, Evri useless, absolutely useless. You get it was handed to us, and then you get absolutely nothing. Spinning little wheel of this, that, and the other for days while they deal with it internally. No details or anything like that. And then all of a sudden it goes through. Oh yeah, we received it 3 days ago. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's out for delivery. In fact, sometimes they don't put it's out for delivery. Much more likely, you'll get it through your door, and then somebody signs off all the above items, and you can actually get through to their site and say, "Oh yeah, we delivered it." Yeah, I know that bit. That wasn't what I wanted. So yeah, that was a right pain. And obviously, the first being is it was the first time I was doing checking the various websites, going refresh, where is my parcel? Because I'm all panicky. Will it be stopped by customs? Will it end up being paying that, this, that, and the other? I wanted, especially because it was big, I knew that I'd be paying the VAT, and I was looking out for that email and all that sort of thing. And where is it now because of Thanksgiving weekend, all that sort of thing. Oof. So yeah. Calm myself down. And so yeah, But after this first time, if you do it again, I think it'll be a lot more calm. You won't worry so much about refreshing, but obviously the first time through, you're there with a very much, you want to see everything progressing nice and smoothly. And Evri, be warned, does not do that on their website. You'll spend half the time with it not refreshing, and the other half of the time with it telling you that it's still arrived and hasn't done anything else. Whereas, like I said, DHL, absolutely fantastic. Give you a running commentary of where it is as it's going through different parts of the US and that sort of thing, and when it landed with at the airport. So as a quick bullet point thing, I'll just go through. Don't consolidate at the end of the week. Go for a Monday through to Wednesday. That's a much better idea. That will smooth out your journey. So the slow parts, the bit where it's on an aeroplane going across the, which don't get interrupted much, those will be over the weekend. And obviously customs and things at this end, they still work at a weekend, or at least they'll take it off the plane and put it on a pallet, and then they will deal with it first thing. Just summarising again, remember, if VAT isn't prepaid and can't be prepaid above £135 worth of value, £135, not dollars. Don't try to get close. I wouldn't personally try to get close to the limit just in case. Expect a £8 to £12 handling fee. US release dates, as I'm sure lots of you know, are Tuesdays, not Mondays. So if you're going for an item that you want specifically in your, it might not reach Stackry until a very awkward day like Friday to consolidate. So if it's going to do a slow journey across the US from Amazon, for example, if it gets sent on a Tuesday and you're not Prime or anything like that, it will probably not get there until the Friday or something. So if you suddenly decide that's the time when that one arrives, you wanted to do the consolidation, bad timing. And talking of which, the day things arrive with Stackry, be aware that Stackry has a 45-day limit for when I say limit, I can't explain that in a sec, limit on for how long they will keep your items after arrival before they want you to consolidate them. So you can't get your first item in, then wait for 6 months until down the line until you want to. They will keep it, obviously they don't just throw it in the bin, they will keep it after 45 days, but they will charge you per, I'm not sure if it's per size or per item, but they will charge you a daily fee, and it will soon add up, and it will clear out any profit or any reduction in price you are going to get from using a consolidation service or forwarding service like Stackry. It adds up very, very fast. It's not in cents per day, it's in dollars per day. So try to organise it so all the items are, once your first item that you're going to consolidate has arrived, make sure that everything else arrives within the next 45 days. Then consolidate all of that before it passes on to starting to charge you for that first item daily. Obviously, it doesn't start charging for all of the items, it just does it per item. Each one has got a 45-day limit, if you understand. So it's sort of rolling 45. Yeah. So, yeah, and as for my standard bullet point, it's all tied in with a £135 limit per consolidation. It's easy to get caught out by the just one more thing, because it'll produce just one more thing. It just happens to be coming out this week. Just keep an eye on it. Think about it before you do it. Generally, though, I would point out that prices of steelbooks, etc., are lower in the US than the UK. And actually in Europe, in fact, I've got European steelbooks paid charges for postage from Europe, absolutely identical steelbook to a UK one, and even including the postage and VAT or anything that's being charged on top, it still comes out as less than buying it the identical item from the UK. That's how much we get ripped off. But in this case, we're talking US, so do try to concentrate essentially on items that are significantly reduced, have got great sales, like obviously the big Barnes and Noble sale or anything like that, that you get much bigger sales over in the US than you do here. Not only Barnes and Noble only, but obviously Criterion sales and stuff like that. Sometimes they do huge ones over in the US where we only get a smaller version, or Shout Factory sales. Those will be US only. So yeah, and you really can get a lot of good saving by doing that. So I recommend that be the way about doing it. So I suppose to summarise, would I use Stackry again? And as a simple answer to that, yes, because this is the second box. So I just had to be careful with the address label. Very similar. As you can see, this one's got big fragile stickers on it because it did have a steelbook in, or a couple of steelbooks in, and I didn't have any t-shirts this time, and I normally wouldn't, because normally I just import them direct because they cost less direct, but this one couldn't, and the others could not be done direct, and also I've got to take about, I think, into the 9% duty on them. Therefore I didn't get the automatic padding, so I did pay for the extra bubble wrap. Not the extra bubble wrap, which is supposed to be for things like vases and whatnot. Just the standard extra bubble wrap, which I can't remember if it's $5 or $10, and they put extra around it. They're very good at packing. I will say I'm very impressed with Stackry. Their packing is excellent. They use their brains, not just minimum effort. They will go, oh, that's a steelbook. Tell you what, I'll actually make sure that bit's got the extra bubble wrap around it when they see it sometimes, even. And like I said, they use the t-shirts in that first order to keep things together and keep them padded, which was absolutely excellent. I'm very impressed with their whole service as an overall thing, especially the not having to pay a standing fee for keeping that address open or anything. I dare say that if you don't use it for 5 years or something, they might write to you and say, do you really still need us? I don't know. I've never heard of it. And the way I'm using it is never going to happen. I'm already putting together batch 3 at the moment. And that's got about 5 steelbooks in it. So, yeah. But the fact is, there's no standing fee. They don't charge you at all for opening of the account. And like I said, if you're interested, in the link below you will find a code from me that I'm pretty sure will work, because one from Phil with a double L did for me. Thank you very much, Phil. $10 off your first consolidation, and that will obviously give me $10 credit off my next consolidation, which is very kind. Thank you. So yeah, that was great. And just, I'm not going to go into the second one as a unpacking or anything like that. That will go into hopefully when I do all the haul videos that I've missed near the end of this year. Yes, I'm really sorry. I'll do a sort of best of thing, stuff that I really want to show you that you might not know that I'd get. Obviously I've got all the standard steelbooks that you'd expect me to, etc. But the items that you might not know about, I'll hopefully be able to do a video on that very soon, but not before Christmas. Everything is absolute chaos now, as you might imagine. But what I will say is that this one I did follow my own advice. I kept it below the £135 threshold. I think it's about 120, something like that. So I could prepay all the VAT with Stackry very simply. And I made sure it was sent on a Monday or Tuesday. It flew through the system. DHL were brilliant again, and in fact, because of the way that hump worked, even Evri managed to do some updates on their side, and it just slid through the system. And also on top of that, because I'd been through this with the first box, I was not obviously going back to the sites every couple of hours going, have you updated yet? Have you updated yet? Have you updated yet? I was much more relaxed about the whole system working in the background. I only checked once a day or once every couple of days, and not bother checking when I knew that the package was likely to be on an aeroplane and I knew it wasn't going to be updated. So I wasn't expecting it to be updated, so I didn't go looking again. So that was good. So essentially that was my first Stackry box experience. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the items that I picked up in the haul. I hope that, yes, just to summarise those again, all down there. Yeah, that little lot. And yeah, so yeah, any comments on those, any questions on Stackry, any comments on Stackry, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. I will reply to any comments that are. And to summarise, would I recommend Stackry? If you're going to use it the right way, if you're going to use it for US sales, if you're going to use it for US only items that you're interested in, because you would really want them because you can't get them in the UK, or just releases you can't get in the UK, or much more commonly titles that you can get in the UK as maybe DVDs, but you want a Blu-ray, but it's only in Blu-ray in the US. If you're interested in anime, it might be available on Blu-ray in Germany, which it probably almost always definitely is, but the German release has only got German dub and German subtitles on it, but so you want the American one. If you want to take advantage of big US sales or generally cheaper US prices, then I would certainly recommend Stackry. There are other ones available. Some of those actually provide you with a couple of extra facilities at extra money, but I won't go into it because I haven't tried them out, so I can't actually go into the details and specifics. But anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I hope you got something out of this. And please check out Ray's book, and congratulations to Ray for getting her first book published. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and thank you very much, Ray, for signing this one and sending it on to me. Thank you very much indeed for that. And to finish up, all I can say is have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you after the festive season is over. Bye.